the Patriots already sullied their own draft after the last week of the season. And it feels like I'm the only one who's still upset about it. I go to bed every night just motherfucking these guys for winning that last game and having the number 4 pick instead of the number 1. Instead of having your pick at Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter, a lot of the signs have pointed to they're not going to have both. Or they're not going to have the option for both. They're both going to be off the board, is what I'm trying to say there. But recent report says that might not be the case. In fact, Abdul Carter is not doing any workouts because of a hairline fracture in his foot, which, do you use the number 1 pick on a guy with a fracture in his foot? I don't know. And now there's some belief that the Giants might be going after a quarterback as well in the top 4, which led Phil Perry, who covers the Patriots day in, day out. He's actually at the Combine, and one of my favorite Patriot reporters. No shtick with him. He just reports on the team. And he had this to say about the possibility of Travis Hunter and or Abdul Carter actually getting to number 4 in the draft when the Patriots are selecting.
I would say first the quarterbacks, I just start there because from a Patriots perspective, it's important that 2 of them go inside the top 3 so you can have a decent shot at one of these blue chip guys. And I think there is a real chance that happens. That's something that, I've heard all week here is that even though it's not the strongest quarterback class, I don't think it would surprise many people if both Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders go somewhere in the top 3. And so that then for the Patriots, if that does actually happen, would mean you got a shot at either Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter.
Now this gets real interesting. And again, frustrating because the Patriots had their destiny in their hands week 18. All they need to do is lose and they're the number 1 pick in the draft. Instead, they win. And now their number 4 overall pick and who they're going to get there really hinges upon what the New York Giants do. That's what a big part of their offseason depends on right now. And it's the nature of the beast. But again, you talk about a team that had the number 1 pick in their hands going into the last week of the season, have well over $100 million in cap space, and their offseason is coming down to what other teams do. We'll talk about the Bengals later on in the show. But right now, the Giants eyeing Matthew Stafford, if they go out and sign or acquire Matthew Stafford, then Patriots are up a creek without a paddle again. Because then they're just going to go and pick Travis Hunter at number 3. So it sucks that that's what it comes to. But if they don't get to attract somebody like a Stafford, then all of a sudden that real possibility is back, that they are going to be desperate, that even though this is not a great quarterback draft and that Shedeur Sanders is not at the Combine and athleticism and all that doesn't really pop off the page for Shedeur Sanders. In fact, I really liked him as a college quarterback, but there's probably more bad than good when it comes to the pro scouting for him. And maybe they go ahead and reach and get him in the top 5, top 3. Then you would be extremely lucky to have Travis Hunter fall into your lap. But now there is that possibility. And that wasn't just Phil. Phil had said about it earlier in that he was on a pod with Tom Curran. Tom Curran's Patriots Talk podcast is where that comes from. He was talking about earlier in that show that, there's just more muddy waters around those top 4 picks. And it's not as clear as some people might think. A lot of NFL executives are wondering if the Giants are going to go quarterback and where Travis Hunter could fall to. Teams wondering if they should trade with the Patriots in the event that they can have a chance at Travis Hunter. Obviously, that would take the king's ransom because I think the Patriots really want Travis Hunter. It seems obvious to us, but we've seen the Patriots pass up on what looked to be slam dunks before. A lot of people thought they were going to get J.J. Watt in 2011. Instead, they got Nate Solder. Now, that ended up being a good pick. It was your left tackle for a couple Super Bowl teams. But J.J. Watt's a Hall of Famer. So, it's not always that easy with this organization or with any organization, really. But they have met with Travis Hunter, and they seem to love him. In fact, Karen Guregian of Mass Live is also reporting that the Patriots see Hunter as a wide receiver 1 and a cornerback 1, Not an or, an and. And at that case, like, you can't let this guy go by just because you need help on the offensive line. Like, the more this season went on and the more it was, very obvious that the Patriots are going to be picking in the top 2 or 3, which weirdly they turned out to be 4, the more you got to this roster sucks all the way around. And yeah, the biggest need is offensive line, but you can't afford to have that kind of thinking if Travis Hunter is available for you. Like, that's where you rip up the packets that you've put together the last couple months and say, nope, don't overthink this. Travis Hunter is going to be a game breaker in this league. And he is, man. Like, he's getting cornerback 1 kind of projections as a wide receiver. The popular comp going around right now is Devontae Smith. Like, if you're the Patriots and you have a Devontae Smith right there, even in the top 5, even being a wide receiver, and you have the chance, you have the real thought that he's going to be Devontae Smith, I would just draft that guy. Let alone a guy who's Devontae Smith and potentially a Christian Gonzalez. Like, that's a massive opportunity. That's a generational opportunity. And the fact that he could fall to 4 is mind-numbing to me, to be totally honest with you. I thought they lost Travis Hunter when they beat Buffalo in Week 18. But it's to the point now where you can do all the draft strategy that you want and the positions that you're looking at and wanting to get better in the trenches and this, that, and the other. There's one guy in the draft that can help you at 2 different positions. And when you are a team that needs to improve on every position group but 1 on your entire team, then you can't pass that up. You can't. And he's not going to be, he's not going to be Jamar Chase on offense and I guess Christian Gonzalez on defense. He's not going to play every single down, but just the fact that you can bring him in, every other down on offense, maybe play some nickel corner so there's packages where he's not in there on defense just to give him a rest. Like, that is an invaluable commodity. Like, that just doesn't come around. And I think, looking at this from a different perspective, if the Giants decided to pass on Travis Hunter to take a reach at quarterback, I think Giants fans would be like pissing their pants, like holding a riot outside the stadium. Like, that's where you just can't overthink it. The Patriots, I think, no matter who is up on the board, should just take the best player available. I really do. Just because, outside of quarterback, which there's no other quarterback that's going to be projected top 5, you need to fix every position. Every single one. So, yeah, I also definitely understand why a lot of experts are still saying tackle, because we just watched one of the worst offensive lines in the history of football. I get that. But they also weren't very good in pass coverage. They also couldn't put together a pass rush. They also don't have a lot of youth at the linebacker position. They also don't have any weapons for Drake May to throw to. So it's like, yeah, you can't just limit it to that one position or position group. It does seem like the most slam dunk, the most rational to go out and fix. But if you have Travis Hunter there at 4, there is no doubt. I mean, no doubt that you go after that kid. And if he does fall into their lap at 4, honestly, I'm thinking about a Patriots dynasty again. Not just because of the player, because I do think he's going to be a great player. But I'm thinking dynasty because I will have then thought they got really fucking lucky to get him. The way the Bulls got insanely lucky that with the number 3 pick in the draft in 84, they drafted the greatest player ever. Sometimes you just get lucky. The Patriots know all about that in the draft. And maybe we'll look back in years from now and say, man, they were pretty lucky to get Drake May at 3. He was the best quarterback in that class. Jaden Daniels obviously had a better rookie season. But who knows, man? Who knows? Maybe he just becomes a Jag and Caleb Williams is a Jag, and Drake May's an all-pro. Sometimes that happens. But yeah, if they're lucky enough to have Travis Hunter fall to them, start planning parades again, because that kind of luck only turns into championships. Like, in a way, the Chiefs were lucky to get Mahomes at 10. Looking back at it, right? They traded up to get there. But lucky in the sense that obviously you should have drafted Patrick Mahomes over Mitch Trubisky. Like, that's such an easy one to say now. But anyway, also Abdul Carter. That's maybe the more realistic one, as he now battles an injury. Like, do you want to spend a number one overall pick on a guy who's injured, who didn't do any of the workouts, none of the measurables for you? Like, the tape is fantastic, and I think there's plenty of or a good school of thought to say, well, you're not gonna, if you thought he was the best player in the draft, you probably shouldn't about face on that just because of a short-term injury. But these things do happen. And if the Patriots are lucky enough to get Travis Hunter, oh boy, look out. So long as Dion approves that Travis can play there. Shador in New York, Travis Hunter in Foxborough. It's not that far away, Dion. I think you should allow that to happen.
We are Rogue Media Sports.
Hey, thanks for stopping by. And if you like this video, be sure to give us a like and subscribe. It really helps out the channel a ton. You can follow me on Twitter here for some more outrageous Boston sports takes coming to you every weekday at noon Eastern time. And then after that, wherever you get your podcasts.
We are Rogue Media Sports.